Well, welcome to the Black Financial Channel. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what's happening in the financial world. I'm live in Los Angeles for our Black Wealth Training Camp, which is going to happen for the next 2 days on the 8th and the 9th. And then, of course, this is the last event I'm doing until the All Black National Convention, which is going to be October 20th in Atlanta. And so today I want to talk to you a little bit about a couple of things. One, something I saw that was interesting politically in terms of shaping the economic climate going forward. Second of all, I'm going to talk to you about Apple stock. There are some people that have made some significant moves with Apple stock. And I'm going to tell you, hey, it's pretty convincing. And I'm actually going to invest in this myself. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Morning, welcome to the Black Financial Channel. This is theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor. On the Black Financial Channel, we talk about Black wealth and Black economics every single day, sometimes as much as 10 times a day under the B1 condition. B1 means we are Black first. Black first means we put our community at the top of our priority list. Black first means that we take care of our families. Black first means we make a plan for our future. Black first means we believe in education and economic empowerment. If you agree with this philosophy, put a B1 in the chat. Let me know that that's okay. Also, give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me all right, because sometimes the audio comes in a little fuzzy. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm right next to the airport, and I love airports because, as you guys know, I'm getting my pilot's license now. I can actually fly airplanes by myself now, and I know what I'm doing, and I'm super excited about it. And so I love airplanes. I look in the sky all the time, and I love watching the planes fly by, and I have so much respect for the pilots. But anyway, let's jump into the conversation. I want to say good morning to Latrocia. Is that Latrocia? Did I say that right? Derek Johnson, good to see you. Let's see, Jackie, Dimitri, good to see you. Larry Smith, good to see you. How many of you got a text from me this morning? Any of you got the profit alert this morning? Give me a yes in the chat if you got the profit alert. If you are not getting the profit alerts, if you're not getting the text alerts, it's very easy. It's totally free. All you got to do is text the word stock, STOCK, to 31996. Text stock to 31996. Somebody put 31996 in the chat in case anybody did not hear that. Also, if you go to boycewatkins.com, you can also get lots of free stuff. There's a training on how to make money without working. There's the $5 a day investing plan. You can get free copies of some of my books, things like that. You can also check out my latest book called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. All right, so let's jump into this. First thing I wanted to talk about, I thought this was kind of interesting. This is kind of tangentially related to the market, but I thought it was interesting. I saw that there was a poll where they said that 73% of all voters believe Joe Biden is too old to run for office. 73%. And it was interesting because I think 47% said they felt that Trump was too old. And it's interesting to me because Trump and Biden are only 3 years apart in age. I don't know if anybody knows that those two guys are pretty close in age. If one of them was too old, chances are the other was too old too. It's kind of weird, but maybe it's the imagery, right? You see images of Biden falling down the steps, falling off his bike, stuff like that, whereas Trump still has that sort of fighter spirit. And I actually read a long bio. I read everybody's bio to understand people. So I read about Biden's life. Biden has had a really tragic life. I'm not a fan of him, to be honest with you. Y'all know, some of you may know my politics on this, but my politics don't have to be your politics. I want to make that clear. I'm not a fan of Biden because of the mass incarceration policies. I'll never forget that because I had too many friends and too many family members that were affected by it. But if you look at his life, he's really overcome a lot of tragedy. I don't know if y'all know, but many years ago, I think his wife and his child were both killed in a car crash. And then his other son, the son that isn't on drugs, it wasn't Hunter, it was the other one. I forgot his name, but he was I think the Attorney General of Delaware or something. And he was the type that was probably going to try to run for president. And then he got brain cancer. I think his name was Bo or something like that. So this poor guy's really been through a lot. So I'll tell you, even if I disagree with him, I have empathy for what his family has gone through. I also have respect for what his family has overcome. And I want to make that clear. Trump is interesting, too. If you ever want to read an interesting story, read the 100-year history of the Trump family. The Trump family is an interesting lesson on wealth because Trump's father, Fred, The reason they had so much money when Donald was born and when Donald was 25 was because his father made one small decision that I'm asking you all to make. He did one little thing that I've been begging you all to consider. He used to go and fix houses. He was a builder, a carpenter, something like that. His father died when he was 13, so he did, he didn't have a father in the house. But he saw how much money wealthy people were making when they would hire him to come and fix up their houses that they were buying. And he saw these easy flips where all this money was being made in real estate. And he said, wait a minute, I want to get in on the right side of this deal. I don't want to just fix the houses. I want to own them. So he started buying property. He bought his first little apartment. He didn't have much money. And then he bought another one, another one, another one, another one. Next thing you know, his family has a lot of money. So by the time Donald was born in 1946, his father was already on his way in terms of making money. And then when Donald was 25, I think around 1971, his father was able to do something for his son that I want you to be able to do for your daughter or for your son, which was that he said, son, yeah, you can go to college. Yeah, you can do all these other things. But instead of having you spend all your 30s drowned in student loans, chasing after corporate jobs, here's some money. Here's a lump of money. And I want you to go conquer the world. I want you to go out here and fight. So by the time Donald was 28, he wasn't, a squirrel trying to get a nut. He wasn't chasing after a job. He wasn't trying to deal with student loans like a lot of us were. Give me a yes if you were in this category. Give me a yes if your 20s were a struggle. My 20s were a horrible struggle. A lot of time got wasted, but I was in school. I was working on my PhD. But Donald, instead, when he was 28, you know what he was doing? He bought a $400 million hotel. That's what he was doing at the age of 28. He bought a $400 million hotel. Now, is the family crooked? Yeah, probably, because at that time in New York in the 70s, you couldn't really do construction projects on that magnitude without dealing with the mafia. So when people make accusations of Trump having ties to the mob and all that, yeah, I believe that that's the case. But putting that to the side, I think that if you want to understand wealth, you should study everybody, study your friends, study your enemies, study everybody, and don't get so caught up in whether or not you like a person that you forget about the fact that you can learn from everybody. Okay, give me a yes in the chat if you agree. Give me a yes if that story benefited you on some level. I really like to share these stories because I think that learning wealth can occur through storytelling, an analysis of family culture. In fact, in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, some people were very surprised because I spent a lot of time talking about what wealthy culture looks like, how wealthy families separate themselves from everyone else. And I want you to have a wealthy culture. So type the word wealthy in the chat. If you agree, type the word wealthy if that's what you're going to do with your kids. Get your kids ready. If you want to apply something very basic, everybody can do this. I don't care how poor you are right now. I have something called the $5 a day investing plan that I've shared with millions and millions and millions of people. It's very basic. A 10-year-old could do it. And it's on my website, boycewatkins.com. It's totally free. Feel free to go take a look at that. Also, there's a lot of other stuff there as well that you can pick up. And also, I hope you'll consider coming to the All Black National Convention because that's what we're all about. That's what we do. That's how we roll. We operate in terms of family, love, building, positivity, strength. That's what we're doing. And many of you are doing it already because I'm meeting you in the streets. When I was in LA, I bumped into brothers in the streets, stuff like that. When I see you, most of you are making major moves. And I want to commend you, but also acknowledge and let you know that this is not small. This is very significant. Remember, when the Trump family first began to get wealthy, they didn't have a lot of money in the beginning. What they were doing when his father, Fred, decided to buy houses instead of just work on houses, that didn't seem like a big deal. But here, think about this. 100 years later, his son was president of the United States. Again, I'm not telling you to vote for the guy. I don't tell you who to vote for. Make sure we're clear on that. I don't tell you who to vote for. I don't tell you what to invest in. I don't tell you what to think, but I want you to just pay attention. This is where wealth comes from. It comes from a long plan. What is your long plan? Don't worry about what's going on in the year 2023. What are your kids going to be doing in the year 2073? What are your grandkids going to be able to do because of a seed you planted right now? If you plant that seed now and you give it 40 years to grow, you can grow a $10 million, $50 million, $100 million seed. Next thing you know, your kid is out conquering the world and they're giving you credit for it. All right, so do me a favor, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching the Black Financial Channel. I do not have a lot of time before my meeting, so I'm going to make this quick. I hope that these conversations are beneficial to you. Also, again, someone asked, how do you get on the list for the profit alerts? Just text the word stock to 31996. Also, if you're interested, I have a private Telegram channel for Black investors. You can go to drboycetelegram.com if you'd like to take a look at that. And if you have kids, we have financial workbooks and stuff like that You can go to financialworkbooks.com if you'd like to take a look. That's financialworkbooks.com. Okay, guys. All right, so let me pull up this story that I thought was really interesting. This has to do with Apple stock, and this would be the profit alert for today. And this is a move I just made. I just made this move. This is not invested advice, but this is the move I just made. So it turns out that there is an investor named Dan Niles who is very, very well known, very, followed by a lot of people, and he's shorting Apple stock. And he makes a lot of really compelling arguments as to why Apple stock might be a little bit overvalued. And in fact, I wasn't just persuaded by what he said. I was so persuaded that I actually went and bought some put options on Apple stock. I think they were not long-term put options. Maybe they expire in a couple of weeks. But I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and just put a little something on it. Just see what happens. Now, remember, buying and selling options. So buying options is not necessarily what you would want to do with your entire portfolio. It's risky. There is some chance you could lose all your money. If the option does not move in the direction that you want, or the stock doesn't do what it's supposed to do, you could lose all your money. So do not do it. Do not invest in anything anywhere unless A, you understand what you're invested in, and two, you're prepared to lose money. Give me a yes if you understand this. I think it's really important. A lot of us don't get that. We think that investing is an easy, quick flip. It's not quick. It's not easy. And a lot of investors, my brother works for a venture capital fund, and what they'll do is they'll invest in 10 companies and fully expect that eight of them are going to fail. Did y'all know that? That there are venture capitalists out here that will invest in 10 companies and expect 8, maybe even 9 of them to fail. The reason that they do it anyway, why would you do that? Why would you invest in something where you only have a 10% chance of success? Well, that's in statistics, they call that skewness. Skewness is where that one success outweighs all the failures. That it's where that one company that becomes the billion-dollar unicorn makes all the money back for the other 9 companies that failed, right? So in a way, it's like extreme baseball. In baseball, I think Babe Ruth missed more. He struck out more times than every other batter in history or something crazy like that. He struck out most of the time when he went up to bat. But why is he called the Babe? Why is he known as one of the greatest baseball players of all time? Well, because when he connected with that ball, that sucker went straight out the park. That ball went straight out the park. So here's this. So I just want to make sure I lay that out there, because sometimes we get misinterpreted. I want to make sure we understand this. Investing is not a casino, but to have a little bit of fun, and because I was persuaded by what Dan now said, I said, you know what, let me get some put options on Apple. I didn't get long-term puts. They would have been more expensive. I got some short-term put options because I think that what he's saying makes sense, and Apple stock went up a little bit today, and but some of these issues that he brings up are very real issues. Let me read a little bit of this to you. Thumbs up. Please hit that thumbs up button. Hit the notification bell also if you aren't getting notifications when I go live. All right, so it says, widely followed investor Dan Niles revealed Thursday that he dumped his Apple shares and started betting against the tech giant in a significant way. So he sold his Apple, and he says now that's his largest single short. He said in a post on X, formerly known as Twitter. Now, part of the reason that these short sellers announce what they're doing is because they're hoping that they can change sentiment in their own favor. They'll do that. Short sellers are kind of sneaky in that way. They will short sell a stock and then create fear, uncertainty, and doubt about the stock. Hindenburg Research is one of the best on the planet at this kind of thing. I don't like it, though. I don't like it because it's a little, I would say it's a little unethical, but that's what they do. So it says here that the hedge fund manager bought Apple on August 18th and started selling on Wednesday. Shares of Apple were down for a second day in a row, bringing losses to more than 6% this week. The stock is still up 36% this year. He pointed to several reasons for this move. First, he noted risk stemming from China's potential ban. I took my wife to China. By the way, my wife is this, she's this beautiful black, intelligent black woman. She's a therapist, and I love her. I'm gonna put a picture of her because just so y'all know, I just admire my wife. Look at the way she's looking at me, y'all. She just thinks she loves my dirty socks. I'm not gonna say my dirty drawers because it's too early in the morning to be talking about somebody's drawers. But anyway, shout out to all the smart black women out here. I believe black love can conquer the world. Anyway, so we went to China, my wife and I, and when we were in China, we noticed that a lot of common American products are banned in China. I don't know if y'all know this, but if you go to China and you try to get on Facebook, you will not be able to access your Facebook account. If you try to get on Google, you will not be able to access Google. If you try to get an Uber in China, there is there's basically other companies out there that pretty much do the same thing. The Chinese are pretty notorious for stealing ideas. They sort of view things like intellectual property very differently from the way we do in the United States. So they just bootleg everything. It's really kind of crazy. So anyway, the other thing here that's stated is that the reason that, let's see here, it says also, so China's planning to extend the ban on iPhone use. It's to state-owned corporations. So that means all corporations that are owned by the state or run by the state are not going to be allowed to use iPhones because I think they view them as a security risk. Also, a day earlier, the Wall Street Journal reported that China was moving to prohibit iPhone usage in all government agencies. Also, they said, Niall said that Huawei, Huawei, their resurgence could pose a threat to Apple. The Shenzhen-based telecommunications firm recently announced the latest version of its mobile operating system, Harmony OS 4, and an enhanced artificial intelligence assistant as the company ramps up efforts to reestablish strength for its smartphone business. This phone by Huawei, just so you know, Huawei is a company that has been under the radar of the U.S. government and has been accused basically of spying. And so Huawei has been, I think they were banned for a while, or certain things were banned, or I don't know all the details. I just know that company has been really under the microscope of the U.S. government. And what happened was that Huawei just released their new operating system. And in this operating system, they have technology that other countries are not supposed to have. You know, they said, hey, we're not stealing anything from you, we're not copying you, we're not taking anything from you. But then they're like, wait a minute, but your smartphone over here has a lot of technology that it should not have. So ultimately, the big thing here is that, at the end of the day, what you're kind of seeing is a scenario where this trade war, this economic warfare between the U.S. and China is starting to escalate. It's starting to grow. The reason it's continuing to grow is because there are huge issues with intellectual property. There are huge issues with companies stealing from the United States. There's huge issues with China accusing U.S. companies of stealing from them. What Niall seems to be saying is that this is going to spill over into Apple. That's the point, right? And if Apple gets affected and China starts to get gangster with Apple, that's going to pull down the stock price. Personally, I feel that Apple stock is a little bit too high. I feel like Apple's been pushed up a little bit too much. They're going to have to work really hard to maintain that level of value. I still think they could be a good long-term investment, but over the short term, everything he says makes sense. He says also, he expressed concerns about Apple's elevated valuation, which, there you go, that's what I just said, considering its revenue has fallen in the past few quarters. This will force investors to question the 29x CY23 price earnings CY. Okay. So that's okay. So the 2023 price earnings ratio of 29, right? Versus with no major AI play versus S&P at 21. Okay. At 29, I still think Apple's price earnings ratio could be a little bit higher. You can still justify that. Price earnings ratio is a ratio of price to your earnings, right? It's a big multiple that measures your ability to grow as a company. I think Apple, that's the one part I'm still a little bit shaky on, because I think Apple has some bullets in the holster, and I think Apple is sort of holding back on jumping heavily into a lot of AI conversations. But let me just make it clear, Apple's really good with AI. Apple's so good with AI, they don't even tell you about their AI. They don't even use AI in their earnings reports when they're talking about it. And so if they ever pull that gun out the holster, I think that could actually boost the price long term. But short term, I think that everything he said makes sense, and I am going to short some Apple stock. The way I'm going to short it is I just bought some put options. Again, this is not investing advice. This is just me telling you what I'm doing. We'll just see if it works. I'll let you guys know if I make some money from it. If not, then, whatever. We'll just move on to the next thing. All right. So anyway, do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching the Black Financial Channel. My new book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. If you'd like to get discounted copies of our workbooks for children, we spent years working on these financial workbooks for kids because we believe deeply in the Black Business School that we should be educating our own children, creating our own jobs, and supporting Black-owned business businesses. That's because I don't have a lot of faith in the public school system. I don't have a lot of faith in us working for other people. I don't think that's going to empower us. And I also think we should support Black-owned businesses whenever we can. So I think these should be core values implemented with children at an early age. So financial workbooks kind of hit on that sort of thing. We also have financial flashcards. So if you'd like to take a look, just go to financialworkbooks.com or financialflashcards.com. Okay, guys, I got to get out of here. My meeting's about to start. If you'd like to join us in Los Angeles for the 2-day Black Wealth Training Camp, I think they have a couple more seats. I think they're almost sold out, though. I don't know if they have anything. I don't think they have any more VIP spaces, but if you want to come in general admission, we can make space for you. So feel free to come join us in Los Angeles if you happen to be in the area or want to come by. All right, so I'll be here the 8th and the 9th, and then the All Black National Convention is in Atlanta, October 20th. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com if you'd like to join us. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you soon. Take care now. Peace.